Day one told us everything we need to know with regard to the winter meetings. That everyone is pretending they know everything. Today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 podcast network. My name is Boney, one name, all passion, no sugarcoating. I'm a lifelong A's fan who has spent the past season covering the A's every single day, post-game breakdowns, prospect deep dives, roster decisions, and all the chaos in between. And in the offseason, yes, we are still covering the A's every single day. And I don't show it with corporate talking points or highlight real cliches. I show it with honesty, edge, and the perspective of someone who refuses to let this team be treated like an afterthought. If you want blind optimism, look elsewhere. If you want truth, fire, and a voice that actually cares, welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team, your A's, every single day. Today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Good evening, everybody. R.D. Moss. How are you, sir? Winter meetings today, guys. Winter meetings. And Rule 5 draft is going to take place on Wednesday. I narrowed down who I believe the A's will take in the Rule 5 draft. I got three pitchers. They're picking number 8 overall, and I think they're going to get one of these three pitchers if they are available at number 8. Here's the thing about the Rule 5 draft. You don't have to draft somebody. The whole thing with the Rule 5 draft that makes it tricky is paying $100,000 for a player, and then secondly, you have to free up a roster spot for somebody. And the other catch is that they have to be on your 26-man roster all year long. Last year, we picked up Noah Murdoch. He actually was good for about the first, 30 games of the season, and then not so good. We ended up offering him back to Kansas City. This year, I think there's three possible players that we can get, and I'll cover that later. Draft lottery is tomorrow, 2:30 Pacific Standard Time, I believe. 6% chance to get the number 1 pick. Rock Chalowski, UCLA shortstop. So we have a 6% chance to get him, to get the number 1 pick. You know, here's the thing. If we happen to get the number 1 pick, it's going to be Ross. There's going to be no question about it. Now you're looking at a potential infield of DeVries, Wilson, Chalowski, and Kurtz. Out of this world, right? I don't really care if we get the number 1 pick or not. 4:30 p.m. Central Time. Thank you, RD. So it's going to be 2:30 Pacific Time, and I will be on live covering that tomorrow. One of the top pitchers is definitely who I want. Winter meetings opened up today. Nothing crazy. I listened to A's Cast in the morning. Uneventful, to say the least. I know Townie was talking about Peter Fairbanks from Tampa Bay is picking up as a reliever. I like Fairbanks. Problem with Fairbanks, he's expensive. I mean, right now the market value on Fairbanks is $15 million a year, which means the A's potentially would have to offer a premium for Fairbanks. Oh, now you're looking at something like 3 years, $55 million. For that price, I'm not real high on. Another thing they said that was interesting, and I've kind of covered this before, is they've also made offers out to the youngsters as far as extension. Kurtz, Wilson, maybe Langoliers, Soderstrom. The ball is in their court whether they want to take that contract or not. I don't expect those to be accepted this year. Excuse me. At the winter meetings, I think it's going to be something where if it is accepted, it's going to be something in January, February. Master, I'll take Fairbanks. You got to pay to get any of these pitchers. I just don't think he's worth it. I think he's good. I just don't think he's great. In other words, what I'm saying is and again, I keep going back to my main thing. I'd rather, it's not that I don't like Fairbanks. It's not like I wouldn't want to pay for Fairbanks. I think I like him. But you got to remember, we don't have a bottomless pit of money. So my point being is I'd rather put that money elsewhere. And again, I've talked about repeatedly extending the kids. And if that means we got to offer more money up front in the early years in order to do that, rather than sign a guy like Fairbanks, I'd do that. I like Fairbanks. I'm not opposed to Fairbanks, but I like Fairbanks at like 3 years, $39 million. I like yeah. Devin Williams he got 17, he got 3 years, $51 million. But I see your point, and I think that's a joke. I think it's a joke. I don't like it, Master. I don't know who Devin Williams is better than. If I could really say that I'm comfortable saying that Devin Williams is someone better than who the A's currently have in their bullpen. Not based off last year now. Not based off last year. We're not talking about Devin Williams from 2 years ago when we were with the Brewers. We're talking about last year. And we can't honestly say that Devin Williams, last 2025, Devin Williams is better than anybody the A's have. I think that was just a bad signing. I don't like Devin Williams. Not for that price. Adrian Hauser, Fairbanks, May, Newcomb would be good. Really? You like those guys, huh? Here's the thing, though, guys. Okay, so, all right, fair enough. Who do you want Fairbanks, Hauser, May, all these guys you mentioned, who do you want them to replace in our bullpen? Who do you want them to replace? Who in our bullpen didn't do the job they needed to do towards the end of the second half of the season that you want to replace for that price? I don't know. I hope Kyle Tucker is spending time with David Force. Nice, my ace. Nice. Pomeranz. I like Pomeranz. I'm with you there, Flea. I'm with you there, Flea. See, that's the guy I would take a shot at. It's not going to cost you a lot. It's a good lefty arm. I'm with you on Pomeranz. Means I don't mind that. I don't mind that whatsoever. I'm just so opposed to paying so much darn money for a closer. Are we still going to be mid this next year? What do you mean? Like middle of the pack? Middle of the pack? Master, according to the numbers last year, the second half of the season, yes. We were the best. We were the third best bullpen in baseball the second half of the season. We were. Is that sustainable? I don't know. I know what Devin Williams was, though. Is that sustainable? That's the question. I don't know. But right now, according to the numbers, second half of baseball, we were the third best bullpen in baseball. Yeah, we were good. We were really good. Yes, 100%. You got to remember, we were a hell of a ball club the second half. Can we sustain it? That's the question. Agree with you, Master. Bullpens are year to year. Listen, I like those players you're talking about. I don't want to spend $20 million a year for them. That's all I'm saying. I like Fairbanks. I think he's a great pitcher. I just don't think you spend that much money unless you have money left over. I think you take care of what you need to take care of first. We don't have that stretch in April, May last year, guys. We're a playoff team. I've said it before. I believe that we need to be cautiously optimistic. because I was gung-ho coming into 2025 after the second half we had in 2024. When you play with expectations, when you're expected to win, it has a different feeling than when you're playing to play out the schedule. Resign Newcomb, sign Zach. I don't mind Zach Littell. The contract extension on Soto, Kurtz, Wilson, and Langoliers. You're talking, Bill. You're talking. I think we have a shot at signing Newcomb. And let me tell you why. Newcomb wants to be a starter. He's talked about being a starter. He wants to be a starting pitcher. So I think the type of contract we're going to offer Newcomb is going to be a 2-year deal, let's say $10 million, with year 2 being a player option. That way, hey, if he performs like the starter he thinks he can be, he can opt out year 2 and go get starter money in the open market. If he ends up being a flop as a starter, hey, we send him back to the bullpen. Is that lefty specialist we had last year? I like Newcomb. And I like Littell. Hey, Bill, I like how you're thinking right now. I think that's exactly how we should allocate our money. That's what I'm talking about, Master. I'm not talking about that. I don't like guys like Fairbanks. I don't like Williams, okay? But I am saying I'd rather allocate the funds we have to spend on what Bill's talking about first. If I had a choice, that's what I would do. Now, at the very end of the day, if there's money left over and we can't sign, we can't extend, whatever it may be, and we need that money to spend, go get Fairbanks at a premium. That's all I'm saying. Are they going to sign any free agents like decent ones? Barbecue Slayer? No, not now. Not now, bud. Not now. Maybe we have money to spend, right? At the same time, it's like, so BBQ Slayer, who do you want? Who do you want to replace? Who can we get? Who can we afford? That's the whole question. Yeah, if players don't want to sign early, you got to spend that money to win now. Yeah, I'm with you there. And that's my point, Master, right? I'm not opposed to signing the guys you are talking about. My point being is I don't want to say, hey, let's go offer a contract to Fairbanks right now for 3 years, $60 million, which it would probably cost about 3 years. It would cost Devin Williams money in order to get Fairbanks to come to Sacramento. Maybe a little bit more, maybe more years. I don't want to do that now. If we offer extensions to Kurtz, to Wilson, to Soderstrom, to Langoliers, if we try to do that with those guys and they don't accept it for any particular reason and we can't sign anybody else, yes, go get Fairbanks. And it's not like Fairbanks is a dominant lights out closer either. You know, we're not talking about a Suarez or an Edwin Diaz. I wouldn't say those guys are lights out either. My A's extension, 100% build from within, right? Build from within. Agree. I know we can upgrade second and third. Yeah, no question. I mean, right now, our infield's looking, how nice would it be if Geloff has a bounce back year? I mean, wouldn't that be something, guys? NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time with FanDuel. You can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money line adjust instantly. Player props updates as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast and so can you. I mean, there was nothing like a little FanDuel with that Raiders game on Sunday. I hope nobody had the Raiders plus, the Broncos minus the points. That was a little brutal. Just a little brutal. Just saying. Guys, thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On A's with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedona's.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. If you are a true diehard A's fan, the Everydayer All Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all access episode, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount to the Locked On merchandise store. Head to lockedona's.supercast.com to join the Everydayer program and unlock all access. You can also find the link in the show notes. Back talking Rule 5 draft lottery, schedule of events, Flea, what do you got? It's tough. I want to see a full season from Muncy and Harris, but not that many spots. Muncy has the power potential, and Harris has the glove value and contact skills. Yes, sir. He sure does. Junior Perez, but then there's Perez. I want to see some at-bats. BBQ Slayer, can you name some of the free agent infielders? Absolutely. I just was looking at that. Jorge Polanco from the Mariners. Market value on him's $14.5 million. We'd have to pay more. Luis Urias from San Diego. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa from Toronto. Adam Frazier, more on the lower end. That's for second baseman. As far as third baseman, Alex Bregman, we're not getting him. Eugenio Suarez, Ramon Urias, Miguel Andujar. I wouldn't mind seeing Andujar back in a A's uniform. I predicted the A's would get somebody like a Jose Iglesias from San Diego. Shortstops, Bo Bichette, we're not getting him. Willie Castro, I could say it's getting Luis Rengifo from Anaheim. Those are what you're basically looking at. I like Gregory Soto too, Master. I like him too. I wouldn't mind to see the A's go by bullpen by committee. I've talked about this in the past. Bullpen by committee, it worked for them last year in the second half. It keeps everyone involved. You go play more towards matchups. It's not going to cost you a ton. I mean, since when now are closers costing so much darn money? But I'm with you. I like Gregory Soto. Gregory Soto would cost us $10 million a year. I'm in. I like that a lot, Master. He's a 2-time All-Star. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. The seat view feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Boone, I know you're being realistic, penny pincher, but what kind of signings will change your mind this season if the A's are willing to change their spending ways? My A's, it's not penny pinching, right? It's just when you've seen the franchise do the same thing for 30 years, they're not changing anything while they're in Sacramento. He's going to base his spending on what is the least amount he has to spend in order to participate in the revenue sharing. So the number we're looking at as far as the A's spending right now is about between $30 and $35 million. That's what we have. So what I'm saying is like, hey, let's extend Langoliers, let's extend Soderstrom, let's extend Wilson, and let's extend Kurtz, right? But you got to remember, whenever you're extending those guys and you're buying out the pre-arb years and the arbitration years, the front end money is going to be, it's not going to be a lot. You're spending that money down the line and you're betting on Vegas. But after that, what do you have left over to really spend? It's not that I'm like you guys. If I had a choice or something I want to see the A's do, it would be spend. But the realistic part is I could name all these free agents like, hey, let's sign Bregman, let's sign Hunter Green, let's trade for Hunter Green, let's trade for this guy and that guy. The reality is we're not gonna do that. And also the reality is when we're talking about somebody like Fairbanks, is like, yes, would I spend 3 years, $42 million for Fairbanks? Yes. If we're in Vegas, the A's are in Vegas, that's how much it would cost. But in Sacramento, in order to get someone like Fairbanks, I don't want the A's to spend a 35% premium, 40% premium for a reliever. I don't want 3 years, $54 million for Fairbanks. That's what I'm kind of what I'm getting at. I want Tyler Mahle is the guy I want from Texas. A guy with huge upside that won't cost a lot. And that's who we need to shoot for. But no, I mean, I'm like you guys, my A's. I want to get every possible free agent we can. The reality is we have X amount of dollars. And if I had a priority on what the A's should spend that money on, it's the young core. What made 72 to 74 so special, guys, is those guys grew up together. They came up together through the moves, and they stuck together. And I've talked about it before. This team and what they're going through with the move from Oakland to Sacramento to Vegas has a lot of similarities between 72 and 74. And I've talked about culture before. I've talked about togetherness before. And I've talked about this team growing together before. And that's how you do it. And I also want to get this stigma out of this franchise of not re-signing individuals to longer term deals. And also, my A's, you got to remember, man, more than any other thing past the players, the A's need an identity right now, and they need a fan base. We don't have one. We don't have a fan base. We don't have an identity. And right now, when people think about the A's, they think of the A's like a pariah. And I want that to change. And in order to change that, it starts by, hey, we're vested into Vegas, into the future. Market guys like Kurtz, Wilson, Soderstrom, Langoliers. And how you do that is you sign them through 2034, 2035. Then you start building a fan base. Then you start building some excitement. Then we got something. So it's more than just signing a player. And that's why it's so important to me. It goes past signing the player. It goes past the player's talent. We have to build an identity. Excuse me, I hate when people say we. The A's need to build an identity, and they need to change their ways on how they are looked at in the national sports spotlight. And it starts, and we have the players to do that. So I hope they really do that. So it goes past the players for me, my A's. I really hope the A's give Zach another chance. He's going to get every chance he's going to get, Rick. He's going to get every chance. He's going to get an invitation to spring. He has the raw talent. Here's the thing with Geloff. Geloff defensively is elite. Zach Geloff is a Gold Glove defensive second baseman. He's shown signs of what he can do offensively. He's been hurt. I mean, every chance where you just think he's turning the corner, starting to figure it out and getting in a rhythm, he gets hurt. He just needs a consistent year to come back from the awful 2024 he had. Master, agree with you. This free agent class isn't anything special. 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. You think Carlos Cortez has a spot, or we have to? Oh, no. He's right now. He's on the 26-man roster. Barbecue. 100%. He would have to go. He would have to have an awful spring, and even if he has an awful spring, someone else would really have to step up. Right now, Carlos Cortez is on the 26-man roster. Right now, he has to have a. Right now, he has to have a spot. He would really have to play his way out of a spot, and someone else would really have to go nuts in order to take that spot from him. Agree with you, Flea. Cortez is legit, real legit. And BBQ, it wasn't like Cortez. Cortez was a third-round pick out of South Carolina, SEC school. The kid came up with pedigree. Cortez was nuts. He wasn't just like some fly of the, some hidden secret. Cortez had pedigree when he was drafted. He lacked pop. And all of a sudden, and pop just sometimes takes a little maturity, growing into your body a little bit, so forth. I think he's found that. But Cortez isn't like a secret, man. Third-round pick, South Carolina, SEC. The kid's legit. Rumors has it the A's trading Thomas for Alec Boehm. I would do that in a second. I don't think the Phillies will. I mean, it would have to be Thomas and somebody else, Bill. There's no chance. I remember last year we were talking about getting Alec Boehm, and they wanted Mason Miller. It would have to be more than Colby Thomas. There's no chance it would be. If it was Colby Thomas for Alec Boehm straight up, where do I sign that? Where do I sign that up? So if he drops 50 mil, he's not dropping 50 mil this year, though, my A's. He's dropping 30 mil. But if he does, yeah, it would. My whole perception will be way different, but he's not. He's going to drop 30, between 30 and 35, just to get around that $10 million payroll he needs to get to. Something like that. But yes, to answer your question, yeah, I'll be shocked if he does that. And that would change everything for me. But he won't. And if he does, I'll come on here and say, hey, my A's, you were right. The Booner was wrong. And we'll continue. But he's not going to do that, pal. Who are the 5 starters? Right now, who I got? Okay, 5 starting pitchers. We got Severino at the 1 spot. Jeffrey Springs at the 2. Jacob Lopez at the 3. You got Luis Morales at the 4. I think the 5 spot's going to be a 4-man battle between Jack Perkins, Sean Newcomb, Brady Basso. Actually, it's going to be a 5-man. Brady Basso, JT Ginn, and Gunnar Hoglund. It's going to be one of those 5 at the 5 spot. I don't know who's going to go. You know who else I can see being our closer, guys? And why I'm hesitant to be really excited about any closers, such as a Devin Williams or a Fairbanks? I think Jack Perkins is going to be a hell of a closer. I wouldn't mind seeing a combo Jack Perkins, Hogan Harris closer type deal. So if they like Cortez, they should trade Butler and make it a competition between Thomas and the whole thing, though, is Master. Who would we get in return, right? Can you get any type of assets in return for Lawrence Butler? Because right now his stock is at the bottom. And, I'm not ready to give up on Lawrence Butler yet either. So I'm opposed to that. We don't know what Cortez is. I will say this. I don't think Cortez's ceiling and Lawrence Butler's ceiling is comparable. I think Lawrence Butler's ceiling, as far as what he can do, is through the roof. I mean, Lawrence Butler's ceiling is a 30-30 guy, right? Cortez isn't that guy. Cortez is a good Major League Baseball player who could play multiple positions, but he doesn't have the ceiling as Lawrence Butler, no. That's assuming the A's do not sign a starter. Well, what starter would we sign that's better than those guys, though, my A's? Seriously, let's take a look at the starting pitching. I've been on this thing before. Let's take a look, though. You guys judge for yourself on guys we can get. We're not going to get Valdez. We're not going to get Suarez. We're not going to get King. We're not going to get Giolito. I talked about Zach Gallen, but reality, we're not going to get him. Zach Gelfand from Baltimore, we won't get him. Merrill Kelly, Chris Bassett, Michael Lorenzen. Did he opt in? And if I'm making a mistake, even Zach Littell. I take Littell. Nestor Cortez. Scherzer. You want Scherzer? You want Verlander? You want Frankie Montes? You want Patrick Corbin? I don't know. RD. I don't know if it carries over to the team, but the spending on the stadium is being described as no regard to budget constraints. They keep upgrading. I think that's two separate things, though, RD, as far as spending on the stadium and spending on until they do something different with regard to spending on the team, I'm not going to believe otherwise. Because we're talking about two funnels. Right? We're talking about where money is coming from in two different directions, right? Fisher, historically, in the ownership and how he runs it, is going to spend on payroll based on the gate, based on ticket sales. The funnel going for the stadium is a completely different type of deal, right? So we're talking about two different things. And he's always going to spend a percentage on that. Even when they get to Vegas, the A's will never be a top 10, a top 5 spending team. He will spend based on revenue. And while I believe revenue will be incredibly good in Las Vegas, he's going to spend a percentage of that on players. It's just the way it is. No, Springs can't be ahead of yes, he has to be. Remember, barbecue. He's getting paid. If you're getting paid, you are in the top spots. Remember when we had Ross Striplee 2 years ago, guys? Hey, Ross Striplee was the worst pitcher in the history of baseball. But if he was healthy, he was getting the ball because we were paying him. And that's the same thing here. If you're getting paid, and Springs is, and Severino is, you're going to be the top guys. It's just the way it is, whether you like it or don't. They will be 1-2 because of their contracts. And he was a good pitcher last year. Springs was good last year. He was good. Vendetti was on the A's in 15. He spent most of his career in the Yanks. Minor leagues threw both left-handed and right-handed. Good call, Flea. Flea, you are one of the best with the memory, man. You are one of the best with the memory. Hey, Jesus. How are you, pal? Doing well? Maybe he sells after the Vegas move. No, I don't think he will. But hey, who knows? I have no effing idea what's going on, but cheers. What's up, Bamboo? Stripling. Bring back Chris Bassett. Yeah, I've talked about Chris Bassett in the past. Again, my whole thing with regard to what the A's are going to spend this off season is it has to be in a priority. If you have 30, 35 million to spend, whatever it is, The first priority is extending Langoliers, Kurtz, Wilson, Soderstrom. Okay? And whatever's left over goes to whatever's left over. The next priority, trades for a starting pitcher. Next priority, free agent, infield, starting pitching. Last priority, reliever, if there's money left over. You have to work and base the priorities based on the budget you have. But my first priority is building a fan base. Building a fan base, getting some excitement for this franchise as they continue to move forward. That's my first priority. For me, that's the most important. Thanks for tuning in today to Locked On A's. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On A's so you get all the latest episodes. You can find me on X, TikTok, or Instagram, all at Locked On A's. Did Locked On A's make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you the very first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB.